Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 37 of the Muscle News and Merlin podcast. I am here with my partner in crime and, of course, my podcast partner, Kevin, all the way from Malta. And I have a very, very special guest with us today. This guy is, I've been working with him as a client for, I don't know, 5, 6 years maybe at this point.
Easy.
He's also become a very dear friend of mine, and he had a tremendous year in 2025. So I wanted to bring him onto the podcast because he's a very special athlete and guy. His name is Josh Stoneking, and he is right there, I believe, in Florida right now. Is that where you are?
Tampa, Florida today. No travels,
Ta-
thank goodness. So
Tampa,
I am
Florida,
home.
because he's always playing golf somewhere. I never know
You
where he
got it.
is. But we have him here today on the podcast. I'm very, very happy to have him. How you doing today, Josh?
Doing fantastic, guys. Kevin, Eric, absolute pleasure to be here and an honor. Obviously, I've been watching this for quite some time. To be sitting here as one of your guests, man, I'm real thrilled about it.
Cool. We are thrilled as well. So let's jump right in and give
Yeah,
people a little bit of background on you because uh, sometimes people in the physique sports aren't given. A lot of people think, guys with muscles, they're not very smart. They're just muscular. But let me tell you something. This guy here is a doctor. So tell everybody a little bit about, that part of your life that, what you do and where you do it.
absolutely. Yeah, so you nailed it, and humbly right is uh, having two lives. One is a bodybuilder, one is a doctor of pharmacy. Those two definitely don't go hand in hand. So I am a pharmacist by training. I did my residency in Florida, so oncology, so cancer specific, is really where I spent most of my time. Early in my career, it was bone marrow transplant, which means I would take your immune system, Eric, and put it in Kevin, and we would cure cancer, for lack of a better term. Okay, so
Wow.
lots of really cool stuff. And as I progressed and finished residency and was working in the hospital system, I was moonlighting at CVS, and I got to see how much money they made in a day compared to how much money they paid me. So then I decided it's probably best to go to the hospital and start my own pharmacy. So started my own pharmacy. So I've been a pharmacy owner now for close to 16 years. It's been really good. I've owned some, sold some, rebought some, built some. So it's kind of now an entrepreneurial pharmacy ownership role. And of course, as I sit today, I still have a handful of them where we get to go out and help specialty patients. So still in that cancer space or autoimmune space. And then now, of course, all the rage is what are these peptides? And we can talk about that later in the compounding space. So definitely proud to say that I am a pharmacist, but also a natural bodybuilder. So I have two lives, as I joke.
Yeah, no, it's funny though, because you think most people will go, oh, a pharmacist, which means he has the ability to get all kinds of special PEDs and stuff, but yet he's natural. How does that work out? But you are 100% natural. And obviously this having you on the podcast is not to tout natural bodybuilding as being superior to the P
No,
because
by no
that's not
means.
where we come from. Obviously, I
Right.
train a ton of people who are on PEDs, and that is what it is, and that's the even playing field that they're on. But one thing I do want to, I mean, I myself came up through as a natural competitor. I was a pro bodybuilder, built a physique that most people believed couldn't be built unless I was on, PEDs. But here we have you. I wanted to bring you on here because there are there are a lot of people out there who will choose not to use PEDs, steroids, growth hormones, so on and so forth, to build their physique. And I really, because you've built such an incredible physique and won so many trophies and been so successful, I just want to show people what can be done if this is the route that they want to go. Because a lot of people, I don't think, because of where we are now in the world, everybody wants everything so fast, and everything is like, I want it, I want it, I want it. I don't think a lot of people understand you can build an incredible physique naturally if you have the dedication, the discipline, the passion, the work ethic, and you do things right. And that's something that you stand for. And what made you choose when you went into the sport and you said, I'm gonna this is something that I love, what I want to do. Was there like a decision for you? Like what made you say, I'm taking the natural route? That's what I want to do personally.
Yeah. So, as a pharmacist, that makes it really easy, right? So I never got into bodybuilding, obviously, until I graduated from pharmacy school. So we have tons of lectures, tons of classes on performance enhancing drugs, all the way down to drawing their chemical structure. So you're deeply educated on what they can and can't do. So first and foremost, I'd like to say as a pharmacist, I love steroids because they work. Okay. As long as they're dosed correctly and under the right supervision, fantastic drugs because they actually do what are promised. But for me, right when I got hired as a pharmacist, you still get drug tested. Okay. There's concerns over taking the pills behind you in your pharmacy, not necessarily, say, steroids, but remember, testosterone without a prescription is considered a controlled substance. So you
Right.
would lose your pharmacy license if caught with that. So, as a amateur, bodybuilding is not going to pay your mortgage. So
Yeah.
pharmacy
Yeah.
is. So that was an easy decision for me. And also, I kind of wanted to see how far I can take it. This is my kind of recommendation personally is let me see what I can build naturally first before I want to cross that bridge and say I naturally plateaued and this is as big and dense and defined as I can be. And we know everybody has a different path. You can max your natural body out in 3 years. Some, like myself, takes 13. So for me, I got very fortunate as Physique started, men's physique class started about a year after I got into it. So 2012, 2013, where it was still relatively a truly natural space, even in the leagues that were untested. I was successful there. And as we grew, so did the sport. And that's why I decided just to kind of pivot over to the natural federations. And honestly, the reason I stayed is I found a home there. We've had some success. Humbly, we've been able to win 15, natural championships as a professional. And I fell into that world, and that's where I felt comfortable. That's where I've stayed. So this is definitely not a knock on anything from a performance
No,
enhancement
No.
perspective because I love it as a pharmacist. But my path initially was I can't take these because I'm a pharmacist and that's my job. And then we found success in the natural space. And in West Virginia, we say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's keep winning these shows. Let's keep traveling the country. And honestly, guys, the checks in natural are pretty good. I have a couple $3,000 first place checks, which can rival some of the smaller IFBB shows. So for me, it's a great space to be and kind of where I've stayed.
yeah. I mean, you've had an incredible career, and I know that I jumped in about halfway through and helped you elevate it to another level, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one of the things that you said, and Kevin, feel free to jump in anytime you want.
That's all
But
right.
one of the things that you said, I really, really like, and that is, um, again, I have nothing against. I believe that PEDs are demonized to a point where they shouldn't
Same.
be. Of course, we know that there's risks involved, but there's risks involved in, in a lot of different things that people do out there. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you take PEDs and you do it responsibly, you can be relatively healthy. You just got to do it
Agreed.
responsibly. But one of the things that you said that I really like that resonates with me, and Kevin and I actually try to bring this out on, different shows when we have discussions about this, is that why not maximize your body naturally before you turn to the PEDs? Because I noticed that today, especially, I know that when I was first, coming up in the sport myself and I started becoming relatively well known as a trainer and whatever, most of the questions I would get from young guys, younger than me, would be, Eric, can you give me advice on how to train? Can you give me advice on how to eat? And then the PED stuff was either not mentioned or it was last.
Okay.
Now I notice it's like the first question is, what should I be taking? Versus how should I be training? What should I diet? And I'm like, you're 18 years old. What do you mean? What should I be taking? So I agree with you fervently that why not? I believe that a lot of people are leaving number one, without even going down the health route of starting too early. I
Mhm.
believe you're leaving a lot of real muscle off the table when you don't maximize your actual muscle building capability with your own hormones, at least while they're at peak levels, which is really up until about age 25. So I mean, you have, a good 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 years of lifting naturally and building a natural base.
Yeah.
And then I believe if that at that point you say, okay, I mean, we both know you can't get to the IF, you can't get to the Mr. Olympia naturally, So if that's your goal at that point, then you could start the PEDs, and I believe you'll be so much further ahead of people who started, 8, 10 years before. Do you agree with that?
So I completely agree with that. And that's the ossification of a male, let's speak male's bones, is proven to be around 24 and 25. So a lot of these chemical compounds that we put in to enhance your muscle can also have negative effects on your immune system that can affect you later in life after your bodybuilding career. Autoimmune diseases are very rampant. You've seen a Skyrizi and Tremfya commercial during the Super Bowl. Those are for ulcerative colitis and other issues that you just don't want to have later in life. So, huge advocate for starting out naturally. And me and you also know this. There's an aesthetic piece to this. When you start out naturally and you maximize that out, let's say by 25, and then you cross the bridge and add the enhancements, the body looks significantly better, less bloated. There's more muscle maturity. It's not just
Yeah.
that roundness that we see. We have seen many athletes start early, and that's their own decision. But you can see what the judges say every time. The size is there, but you need the conditioning and you need that muscle maturity. It's just not there yet because they haven't had the time, as you said, to deeply develop those muscle bellies. So what I love and seems to be more effective, and you can look at guys like Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford who truly have done this, right? They're doing what we're saying, is look how much better they look in their late 20s because they took the natural route or semi-natural route at the very beginning, right? Built that density, built that maturity, got those deeper lines, and then added the substances to grow. And I think that's why those two have seen a lot of early success in the biggest bodybuilding stage there is those two had a very similar path from the start. So completely agree with that, Eric. And if I ever have clients, like we all do from an early age, that's where I'd like to see it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I go to a lot of amateur shows, especially in Europe, and in Malta we have four every year,
Yeah.
with the IFBB on the other side of the fence. Especially the European Amateur World Championships and the World Amateur Championships. When you see, all right, the World Championships are at another level when you're amateur, they're a bit just the stepping stone to being a pro. But in the European or even the Diamond Cups or whatever, Mr. Universes, they're just getting into the game at a high level, and the hardness on stage, it's something like even the men's physique, you say like, and a lot of guys are natural, and the physiques that, year after year competing for these prestigious titles, you can see the muscle maturity compared to, some kid that just starts taking things, right away. You can see them. They don't look healthy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And even the way I see it, when you're younger or getting up to that age, 25, the added pressure to do these things, like, I mean, when you hear pros talking that retired, what's the thing they miss the most? What they'll say that all the food, right?
Yep.
But what's the most thing that they say they hated the needles. It's like
You got it.
it's like I see it as an added pressure that they don't want to do these things, when they had to do it just to get to that stage, and it's like it's taking the way I see, like going through your Instagram and stuff, the path that you took is like it's a more relaxed way to enjoy something that you're not living your life of. It's not you're not it's like not do or die. You have to be a top athlete. There's many avenues that you can go. It doesn't have to the Olympia's the top of the, but it doesn't mean you have to go there. I mean, people are satisfied just competing at a different organizations or and things like that. But unfortunately, how it is, if you don't take one role, people look down at you or whatever. But looking at what you have at the back, it's like something Jay Cutler has at his house, all those
Yeah.
all those medals behind him and trophies and statues, and that's something to just look back at and say, I won those, regardless of what federation, you know what I mean? And like, and even taking the natural route, you can take time off the gym and not lose so much muscle, and
Correct.
you just go back in, and after a week or two, you're back to normal. There's not that pressure. What do you think, Eric? Or I mean,
No,
Josh?
I agree with you. I think what you just hit on it with that point is that I can say from experience now, in my later years when I hit like 50 years old, um, that's the first time I started taking testosterone replacement. So I mean,
At 50.
I was natural all that time, and I mean, I
Yeah,
was hitting the stage, shredded at 215 pounds. Nobody believed I was natural, and I used to take that as an insult, but then I started taking it as a compliment. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
cool, you think that I'm on drugs? Awesome, that means I'm doing this great.
yeah.
So, but the thing that I notice is that some of the people, since I've been in this industry and so for so long. And I know the people who got in and immediately started taking PEDs right from the beginning, and then they retired, their muscle just disappears so quickly
Yeah.
because they didn't really build that natural base. I know for myself, like I just recently had, as everybody knows, a big health scare. And like my body kind of stayed with me, even though I lost a lot of weight because I wasn't eating and there's a whole bunch of stuff, and I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't even taking my testosterone replacement. I haven't even done it, gone back on it. And yet my body retained an amazing amount of muscle. And when I went back to the gym finally, I was like, wow, my strength really, even though I'm didn't really go anywhere. Like I was just feeling a little tired, but and it's just amazing. You could just um the difference between building that natural foundation. I mean, and like we're not saying you have to stay natural for life if that's not your choice and because you want to go the NPC IFBB route,
Yeah.
then we all know to be on that playing field, you have to take PEDs. But building that natural base, I just think has so many benefits, not only for your bodybuilding career and going into it, but also when you finally have to dial it down and say, I'm done, you will retain so much more of what you had so much more easily, where you can, yeah, you can back off and just say, okay, now I'm going on some TRT and still remain. I mean, look at somebody like Jay Cutler. I mean, like he's still, he's not like he was when he's on
Fantastic.
stage, but
Yeah. He
he
looks
doesn't
great.
even try. I mean, and
He
he
looks incredible.
looks amazing,
Yeah.
and but you see other guys who just right from the beginning, they're just boom on so much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they just never built that natural
Yeah.
foundation. And
And
then when they finally,
uh,
when that time of their life is over,
yeah,
they can't really hold it because
that
it
uh,
disappears.
and I've trained with a lot of top guys, and what I noticed as well when they do the old-fashioned guys when they do the off season when they cut everything out. Some
Yep.
guys, right? They take that break. They can't barely train with the pain in the joints. They're feeling pain everywhere. They have no motivation. Um, they basically don't know how to train anymore when they don't take anything. And you see them hating going to the gym. It's like it becomes a major part of their workout and life, when they're on. And when they're off, they're just like horrible. It's
Some
like,
guys don't even like to train when they're off. They're like, well, I can't make any progress and I'm
yeah,
off
yeah,
drugs, so I might as
yeah,
well not train,
yeah, yeah.
which is so silly.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So Josh, when did you actually, when you decided you were going to go into, I'm sure you started training, and then what happened? Did you start training, and then as you were training, and obviously also doing your work, but I mean, what made you say, you know what, I think I want to try to jump on stage? Like, what was the, when did
Well,
that happen?
this will make you laugh. So this has never been a goal of mine. So with residency after pharmacy school, you get matched randomly, and I got matched in Vero Beach, Florida, from West Virginia. So imagine that's like the best day of my life. The hospital had a discount at a gym called Max Fitness, little mom and pop gym. So I go there the first week, and all over their dry erase board it says Team Max, join Team Max, come to this meeting. So I was like, well, I'm just trying to meet new people. They're probably into fitness. Maybe we can like work out, lift weights together or whatever, right? So I go to the meeting, and this is where I learn they're preparing for the Daytona Classic and the Treasure Coast Classic, these little NPC shows. So immediately I'm like, I'm absolutely not doing this. Oh my God, wear a banana hammock on stage. Like, this is not. So the second meeting, I just politely don't go to. Well, the owner was a very nice man. He was like a BH1 trainer. And, this is literally like 2012. This is a long time ago. And he came up to me and he was like, hey, like, I think you should do this bodybuilding show. And I was like, first off, no way. And second off is I'm a resident, I'm making 20 grand a year. I don't have $800 to do this at the time. I mean, I have a roommate, I'm bouncing at a bar after hours and working in CVS to pay, he was polite enough to be like, Josh, I'll pay your entry fee. Just do it. Okay. So he paid the entry fee. I remember the tanning person was even free, worst tan ever. I got my trunks from TJ Maxx for $7. They were yellow and 10 sizes too big. I'll show you a picture. It's even on my Instagram if you want to laugh. And there was no posing, minimal guidance. It was just kind of a team thing like, hey, here's how you do it. Get in shape on your own, show up. Well, it was on the floor of a gym, like a high school, on the basketball floor. The chairs were all folding chairs. I mean, this was the lowest level. It's called the Treasure Coast Classic. It's real. And I got 5th place out of like 15 guys in physique, and I didn't even know how to pose. So one of the judges pulled me aside after and said, listen, you're the 1st place physique. Your posing was just last place. So now I'm an athlete and I'm competitive. So something when it's like a bucket list activity was like, holy shit, if I can do better, I can win. So let's call it 3 or 4 weeks later, I did the Daytona Classic, corrected posing, and that's how it all started. I got addicted. And now it's been 13 straight years of competing, over 60 shows. It's been an unbelievable ride, brother. So that's the true story of how I got into it.
It's so funny because you hear a lot of stories where guys they don't want to compete, but like a gym owner or a friend or someone says you should compete, and they sort of get bribed into competing, and then all of a sudden it becomes their whole. I think Ronnie Coleman, the only reason he competed is because he was offered a free gym membership if he would compete, and then turns into 8-time Mr. Olympia, possibly the best of all time. It's funny how that happens with some people. But that's crazy. So this goes back now. So what was about what age were you about then? About 23?
So 2012, 2013. So 13 years ago. So like 25ish, 26ish. So just finished pharmacy school. So mid-20s.
Mid-20s. Yeah. And now what? You're 38 now? Is that what you're
38 now? You got it right. So
38 and better than ever you have been before.
Yeah, we had our best season at 38. And I think that's a true testament, as you guys alluded to earlier, of natural bodybuilding. It takes a lot of time. Like, we can look at me at 30 after competing for 5 straight years. We don't even look as close to what we look like now, especially from the leg development perspective, right? Some things took a lot of time. But, full transparency with you guys, the gym has been a part of my life since I've been 6. Me going to the gym every day is just my little safe place, happy place. I'm going there regardless if I'm doing a bodybuilding show or not.
Of course.
So doing a natural bodybuilding show doesn't change my day-to-day life. Like, and Eric, this, like, prep does not matter to me. And I mean that as humbly as possible. It's just my normal life, right? I like to eat my meals. I like to go to the gym at 5 in the morning. I like to do my pharmacy work, and I like to sleep 8 hours. I'm not a drinker or a partier, so it just fits my life. So I think that's why I've been really blessed to have a 13-year run, because I'm not fighting a different life to have bodybuilding be part of it,
Yeah, I have to. You've definitely been. You're like the easiest client I have, because it's like I give you the program, it's done. I give you the diet, it's done. I give you the training program, it's done. Like, I never have to worry ever. You even the list of foods, because I ask all new clients, like, give me your favorite proteins, carb. Your list is so small. You're like, I'm good with these proteins, these little carbs, these fats. I'm good every day. So you've been a really easy client in that sense, and definitely one of my hardest workers. But it's been an incredible 13 years. Kevin, do you have something you want to say?
No, it's like it's similar to even the top guys like Jay Cutler. People make things complicated. When you hear Jay Cutler speak, when Chris gave him his diet when he was still, just starting out, what was it? Chicken, rice, and just five things that he put on the fridge, and he would eat those in order every day. Probably still till today, he probably keeps the same basic, diet. He doesn't. It's cut down, but I find some guys and girls, they complicate things, macros here and this and that. And, once Sean Ray said he never used to weigh, he just sees a steak and you just put off the sauce to the side, don't eat it, and just eat, the
Yep.
basic. When I got in the best shape of my life, it was just chicken, a bit of carbs, broccoli, cod, broccoli, and that was it. 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Well, speaking about Jay, I could tell you this is true because even now, when I went out to lunch with him a couple weeks ago, he just finished filming and training at the gym, and then we filmed him having his post-workout meal. And we went to the Cheesecake Factory. What does he get? Plain chicken breast,
Yep.
plain rice, and then he did have some French fries, but he made sure no salt on the French fries, like he was like, and they cooked it special for him. So just the basic protein and carb meal. He's still
Yeah,
doing it today. That's still his deal, you know.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
I also agree that simplicity, not everybody can do that, what Josh does. I was like that too. You were like that, where I could eat almost the same foods every day
yeah.
and just like
Yeah.
I'm
No problem.
just boom, boom, boom.
Same.
Like
No
it's
problem.
easy for me,
Yeah,
no problem. Some people
yeah,
get like, oh, I can't eat the same things every
yeah.
day, and then you have to be a little
No,
bit give
no. I
them
mean,
little things here and there. They want to know, oh, what can I put on it to make this taste better? I
yeah,
was just like, eat my plain chicken
yeah,
breast, be quiet.
yeah.
Have my egg whites, be quiet. Have a
And
piece of fish, be quiet.
and and when you're younger in the younger years, if you don't have the money to spend, just cans of tuna,
Yes, you do
and
what you got
just
to do. I mean, it truly is about eating for fuel and eating for
yeah,
performance and not
yeah,
eating for pleasure. And then
yeah,
when it's over, my boy Josh can go get his wings and stuff that he
Yep.
likes
yeah.
to get.
You got it. That's my favorite. You already know every time. Yeah.
I know it's wings. It's wings.
100% of the time. And you're right. Simplicity is key. My employees laugh at me every day. They're really like, oh my God, doc, turkey and rice again. I'm like, yes, three
Yeah,
more times. I eat it 3 times when I'm in the pharmacy because, have my 3 meals during the work hours, and they laugh. But like you said, it's easy to prep. It's dirt cheap. I hit my numbers. It
yeah,
takes me less than 5 minutes to eat it because I have other activities to do. I don't have the time to prepare a meal or even have a meal that takes me a long time to eat, right? In
yeah,
general, right? I got 15, 20-minute windows where I can stop for a moment, catch up on emails and eat. So I even think of like ease of eating and digesting, right? When it comes to those meals. So the easier, the quicker, the better. And I get this a lot. A lot of athletes reach out to me because, I usually take around 50 to 70 flights a year. How do you travel with your food? The
Good question.
secret is simplicity. Okay, you cannot have these complicated meals with
yeah,
all of this extra shit that you have to take through TSA. It just isn't possible. So Eric, you alluded to it, right? The easier the better for me. It's 100% of the time ground turkey with white rice and spicy yellow mustard. That is what travels with me. It's very easy, and you know this. Every place on earth now has a microwave. It doesn't matter
yeah,
if you're at a gas station, the airport, the
yeah,
hotel. You can warm your food up.
yeah,
So it's not a challenge at all.
I
yeah.
remember one time I was traveling for a competition and they didn't have a microwave, and I literally took my food and I put it on top of the lamp in the room and
And
let the heat from the lamp heat it up.
that's
You
showing
just
your age now because these new bulbs produce no heat, Eric. That's what's
Well,
hilarious.
I remember I'm Merlin the Wizard, so I'm hundreds of years old, so I've been
There we
around for a
go.
long
There we
time.
go.
But yeah, so you know what? I want to use this time also to
Sure.
to let people understand what it takes to build a physique like you have built,
Yeah.
without drugs, because a lot of people, listen, the truth of the matter is, if you look at bodybuilding is a very extreme bodybuilding is a very niche sport. It's
Yep.
like if you ask most men, when I ask my clients when they come to me, except if they're competitors, just general
Mhm.
people, they come then I say, who inspires you? What kind of physique inspires you? 99 out of 100 times it's a physique like yours. It's more of a model-esque, GQ cover, men's fit, not Flex magazine, but muscle
Mhm.
fitness type physique. That's what most people want to look like. And so I think that's the most common with everyone. And you've done it to such an incredible, extreme. So, well, first of all, I was curious, do people sometimes accuse you of being on PEDs when they look at you and you're so conditioned and everything? Or they're like, oh, come on, you're not natural. Do you get that?
Well, I didn't at first, okay, but probably over the past, let's call it 3 to 4 years, I would
Oh, you
say
mean when
yes.
I joined the team?
Basically, right? So there's a testament to yourself. So yes, now, and then for me, I take it as the highest compliment possible. And then I also laugh because I have enhanced friends who are in the IFBB, and I'm like, if I stand next to X, he is triple my size. Remember, these are photos on the internet. They always look better because I'm being compared to other natural athletes.
Right.
When I am standing next to an enhanced athlete, I look like a child.
Yeah.
So I always take that with a grain of salt as a compliment, but I definitely do get that. And it's fair, right? Is what most people see on the internet today from, let's just say, the influencer perspective, not even the stage, is the majority of the time they're on something, but it's taboo and they don't discuss it, right? So they just make the assumption that what they see, if anybody is fit, they're using performance enhancing products, right? So it's a fair assessment because I think the natural space is significantly less than the enhanced space even today from a competitive standpoint. And you know this, Eric, unfortunately, the men and women that I know that are on a lot of performance enhancers are just your normal people. Their buddies told them that clenbuterol will help them shed some weight, and they really don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I've even had some females that ran through my polygraph when I owned a bodybuilding show, and they did not know Anavar was a performance enhancing drug and passed the polygraph but failed the urine test. Okay,
Right.
so genuinely did not know. So
Right.
when people hear the word steroids, honestly, a lot of people don't even know if they are taking something that is classified as that, besides your old school testosterone, trenbolone, the big fancy words that everybody knows. So there's definitely a gray space out there for everyone.
Yeah, listen, it's to be fair, even and I just recently ran into this, even some medically trained physicians think that creatine is actually a steroid. So there's so much misinformation out there that they actually there's so little known that even a doctor who's working in a prominent hospital literally said to me, "You got to stay off that creatine because it's a steroid." And I would just laugh. I'm like, "Yeah, it's just," but so yeah, there is so much misinformation out there. So, but what would you say? And it's true though. What you're saying? I meant to go back to this. Is what is your what's your height and what's your stage weight generally when
Oh, sure.
we're on
So
200, right?
yeah, so 6'3", we were about 213 this morning, so we're up about, let's call it 15 pounds from stage weight. Mr. America, we were right a little bit over 200. Remember, we were like 200 point something, and then the very last show was up in Atlanta. We were like 198ish. So we floated right around 200 pounds.
Right. So the point is that any IFBB pro who's 6'3" is probably on stage at around 300 pounds. So you have a big difference if people are questioning you.
This is the great example, right? The classic height and weights for the natural IFBB shows is not adjusted. So my maximum weight allowed on stage was 232 with my height for classic. So just imagine 30 more pounds on here. I mean, that'd be a dream,
Yeah.
So I just thought that was pretty
You never
comical.
know, bro, 5 years from now.
Well, they made me weigh in, and I looked at the guy. I said, "Buddy, I mean this with all my heart. There's not a chance I'm pushing 230."
Yeah, not a chance. I could be wearing work boots
you
and,
could just be
and a
dumping
suit.
weights on me, So. Yeah, we're 6'3", right around 200 now. We're up about, like I said, 12 to 15 pounds, just depending kind of on what day we're out of the week. But this morning it was right around 220.
Very cool. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about, being, building for people who out there like, I don't want to take PEDs. I'd love to build a physique like Josh. What does it take to do it? What would you, before we get into the real nuts and bolts, what advice do you have for somebody getting into it? What they're going to have to face? What are the main ideas you'd like to get across for somebody who wants to build a physique like you and they're just getting into it now?
Yeah. So first is just like in anything, right? Find an example. So, for me, it was Frank Zane, classic bodybuilder in the 70s, someone who I always looked up to. That was the physique for me. I said, man, all right, I got to figure out how to look like that. So I need some big quads. I need a little waist. I need big shoulders. So how do I accomplish that? Okay. So you have to do your research. The internet gives you everything. You can start really well, and we can go down science and literature and bro science. But at the end of the day, you moving weight your very first year, you're going to get results whether you do it right or wrong. Okay, so you can't really fail, and staying consistent is the key. Yeah, there's Frank, and that's definitely the image that I wanted to look like in my, early 20s for sure, right? I just thought that was the look. So staying consistent is the main key. And then, so Eric, I told you before, when I got started, I stumbled upon PRS, right? So I was doing your workouts before I met
Yeah.
you with Power Rep Shop. I actually had the physical book and I would take it to the gym. So for me, I really didn't even know all the exercises, but Power Rep Shock is what I'm going to do to get started. And that's how I got into it. Okay.
Wow, that
Now,
was I introduced that back in 2001 to the
yeah, I was still
bodybuilding
in West
world.
Virginia at that time. You got it.
Yeah, and then the articles in Iron Man came out, the DVD came out, the ebook came out. So yeah, I've had a lot of people who said that to me. Like I started with Power Up Brain Shock. It made total sense to me and it got great results. So it's amazing.
I had my little notebook, where you said write down all your stuff, progressive overload. So, now you don't, there it is, literally. That's what I had.
I don't know if you can really see it,
There it
but
is.
yeah,
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
that's the DVD, which was the #1 DVD at Home Gym Warehouse out of Iron Man magazine for 4 straight years,
There you
training
go.
DVD. So it works.
No, it definitely works. And then, once you get into the gym, you always meet great people. And I mean that, great people. Majority of people all have their own knowledge. No one thinks they don't know anything about the gym. I've never met somebody and they're like humble. Oh, I don't know anything about this. They're like, well, I do this to grow my chest and it worked. Or I've done this for my legs and it worked. Pick up all the nuggets from all those people at your local gym, right? And then try some things because everybody's body is different. This is why Eric is Merlin. It's very challenging to figure out what works for each person, including yourself. So trial and error, I think, is a huge missed opportunity in the gym because people see something either that's bro science or clinically proving, and they go, I'm doing this. This is going to work for me. Honestly, and you guys know this, it may not. Okay. We each have different genetics. We each respond to different carbs, protein, and fats. And then, of course, once you dial in what I like to say, the workouts and your knowledge there, you have to start learning about nutrition. Okay. And Kevin, you brought up a great point is some bodybuilders just know, hey, I need to eat a steak. I'm going to look at some steak, eat some fish, eat naturally. Because today we know the lack of education on just reading a nutrition label is substantially high. And there's even misconceptions on what is actual healthy food in the United States. When the government tells you on the food pyramid it's healthy, but as a bodybuilder, we know that's not the case. So, you got to figure out a basic workout routine, a basic diet routine, and then stay consistent. And most importantly, and I will say this forever, please fall in love with the process. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kept me natural. I enjoy the process. I like a longer process because it allows me to enjoy it. I have a very busy life and sometimes I can't capture the moment because I'm so worried about everything else. It's a personal issue of mine. But in the natural bodybuilding space, it does take longer. I mean, we take a year off between every single stage season, 12 months. So there's a lot of time to enjoy the process and understand what you're putting yourself through. So when the fruits of your hard work come, you enjoy them a little bit more. So that's just kind of the basic start on where I'd go without diving into the nuts and bolts on how to become, a natural bodybuilder.
Right. So basically, one of the things and this is probably the hardest thing, especially to get into a younger person's head, have some patience.
Yeah.
That's because, especially because of the world that we live in now, you know, people don't realize that most of the kids now, they don't know what a dial-up thing on it, how long it took to get on a computer or
Yeah.
try to download something. You sit there for a half an hour waiting. Now everybody just wants everything like that. So, I mean, it's funny. I get people come to me and I'll be like, well, what's your goal? And they'll be like, I'd like to be an IFBB pro in the next 2 years. And I'm like, have you ever lifted a weight? No. I'm like, do you know that it could take, there's guys out there who took 10, 15 years of trying to turn into an IFBB pro.
Yeah.
It's a process. So especially if you're going to be drug free, it certainly have to have some patience. But I think if you can have that patience, uh, the rewards are better. Whether you're a PED user or not, the patience is really an important part of it because building a just like building an incredible home or building takes time and patience and effort and reworking things and troubleshooting. It's the same thing with building a physique. And of course, when you're talking about the human body and our health, you have to take that into account. So now let's get do you have Kevin, do you have anything you want to ask him
No,
before
like
I get into specifics?
even I mean, all right, to compete in the NPC, whatever IVV Pro, they say you have to, you have to do certain things. Listen, I think there's nothing more satisfying than a guy being natural, going as far as he can go and stepping on the pro stage. And even if he doesn't win, and he places in the middle, but if there's 20 guys and he places 12th or 13th, that's an achievement because hey, I got there, natural. I didn't have to do all the things you guys did, and cut years off your life, which some people literally do, and you're natural, and some people do it, so, there's no limit, the sky's the limit. You can, who knows, if somebody's genetically a genetic
Well,
freak,
you had Ronnie Coleman, you had Kai Green, you have
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Chris Aceto's son is
yeah,
natural, and he just tried his IFBB pro card.
yeah,
So it
yeah, yeah.
can be done. It's just very rare.
It takes time. You can't, and even in the off season, a natural bodybuilder looks better always, and he can get in shape much faster. You don't have to get rid of all that extra water and all that, that crazy stuff. It's just, you turn on the switch a bit, cut down calories here and, maybe a bit more intense workout, and you have to learn how to rest. you know if you train chest on Monday, you don't expect to do it again on maybe a Wednesday, or you have to give your body the time to rest naturally. That's one of the most important things as well.
Agree.
Well, they train chest on Monday, they expect to do it again on Wednesday morning, all out. And that's what they do when they're on the
Hmm.
Well,
PED.
yeah, I mean, those are the advantages of PEDs. I mean,
Yeah.
there's recovery advantages. It's not just people just thinking, oh, it's building muscle, but there's a lot of it has to do with the recovery that your body recovers so much faster that it can take so much more volume,
Yeah.
and that a natural bodybuilder can't take.
Yeah.
So bodybuilding as an one of the things that's that in thinking about what you were just saying, I think one of the things that made me as what I believe as strong as a coach that I am was A, being a successful natural pro, and B, starting my career out mostly training natural guys because I didn't have the PEDs to assist the process. And we still tried to get in the same, maybe we couldn't hold the size, but tried to get in the same condition, same striation, same separation, same look as a drug taking bodybuilder naturally. So it really taught me how to use
Yeah.
food, training, and cardio and natural supplements when those came into play to get into that type of condition. And then when I became a coach to everybody, it gave me an advantage because a lot of the people that I work with are who are on PEDs are people who have come from other coaches. And when I give them their regimen, I cut down. I generally end up cutting down on the amount of PEDs they take, and they get all nervous. They're like, "Oh, but I'm used to taking 600 milligrams a week, only 300, or I'm used to taking these 8 compounds at once. You're only having me on four." And I'd be like, "Just trust me." And using, I'm like, "We're going to use diet and training like you've never used it before, and we're going to make that the foundation of your program." And then they end up getting in better shape than they've ever been and feeling better too.
Yeah.
So, that definitely is, just putting it out there that it's an advantage to me. I feel that it's helped my coaching quite a bit.
Yep.
So Josh, I mean, I know obviously you work with me right now, and we could talk about how that came about, but give some people a little bit more specifics about, you don't have to go crazy, but as a natural, successful natural bodybuilder, well, I wouldn't say bodybuilder, we'll say classic physique and
Yep.
men's physique,
Yep.
because those are your
Perfect.
classes.
Yep.
Um, just talk a little bit about, how many days a week you train, like what the focus is, um, just a little bit about the training and sets and reps and what your mindset is in the gym and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, for me, it's really simple. It's 5 to 6 days a week. Sunday is always rest day. That's just kind of how it works, with the way my life is set up. I am a 5 a.m., 6 a.m. gym goer. I love getting it done in the morning. I always have my first meal, which is 50 grams of protein and 80 grams of carbs before I go to the gym. I'm not a fasted person that works out. I get it. It has its place. It's not for me. The workout usually takes about an hour or less. And right now we're at steady state cardio of 20 minutes on the bike post workout. Okay. So the way we operate, as you guys know, is we mix up every single day of every single week, and we try to attack a body part very aggressively one day, and then secondarily later on in the week. So not as focused or aggressive, but still getting the blood back in, especially on those lacking areas. So for me, it's not a secret, guys. I'm 6'3". We're going to be hammering legs for the rest of my career. We've been doing it for 13 years. It's not going to stop, you know. So Wednesday is hardcore heavy legs, with Saturday having some ancillary work where we need. Calves are underdeveloped, so we're doing calves every other day. It's like your abs. It's something that you can hit significantly more often. We're not banging out 600 reps, guys. You know, 1 to 2 exercises, 3 to 4 sets, and basically time under tension to failure is where we go with everything that we do, whether it's 15 reps or 6 reps, time under tension, pump, blood flow is where we operate. Most of the time, you guys know this, you can't hit your working set until probably the 3rd or 4th set. That's when it counts, is once this old body is loose and going and we're hitting failure, that's where we operate to go to push the blood flow. So, you know, I've been a huge advocate for 1,000 years on this since Merlin doesn't age. Time under tension is key for a natural bodybuilder. I am a huge advocate for that. We do not rush reps. Also, you're never going to see me lifting, benching 335 pounds. It's counterproductive to us, okay? Even those sets of 6, it is a controlled rep with a controlled weight. We're not trying, I haven't maxed out in 13 years, okay? So seeing that stuff, we're trying to build a sculpture and carve it up, so we are hyper-focused on the reps. So that is where my mind is at, is I am focusing on the mind-to-muscle connection every single time. I can give a shit what the weight is. Okay. I mean, really, guys, that's not it. But we have to confuse the muscles and natural. Okay. We have to. Every day of every week, Eric and I have a different workout. Not one day is the same in a 30-day period. And I truly believe, as Eric and I partnered about 5 years ago, that is why we really started to see the changes. That's something I personally wasn't doing training myself, was having so much muscle confusion that we were able to get those quick results. Now, of course, you guys know this too, and Eric will be the first to tell you, the amount of food I eat during a prep is not fair to many others. I have a very fast metabolism, and I get to eat a lot of food even when we're losing weight. So I find that to be beneficial as well, to be able to make these changes in my body. Is we don't have to hit such a ridiculous caloric deficit to where I'm just anemic and cachectic and can't hold anything. Is we can still remain relatively full and still make some slight changes when in that caloric deficit. So, you know, that's the true nuts and bolts from that. You know, we can talk supplementation, those things in a minute, but I want to kind of punt back to you, Eric, because you're the mastermind behind that plan.
Well, yeah. So a couple of things I want to address is, you know, that first of all, you mentioned that about the eating, which we'll go more into that right after this. But one of the keys to what we do, and the reason why your preps don't have to be so extreme in terms of low caloric intake or 2 hours of cardio a day, crazy stuff like that, is because we also make sure to keep you in good shape, even when we're not getting ready for a show. Correct. So we're not allowing you to put on 40, 50 pounds of sloppy weight in between shows. We're happy to stay around 15 pounds away or 16, 17 pounds away from contest weight, even though that gradually goes up each year. But we stay close. So you always have your abs. You're always, I mean, you sent me photos recently and I'm like, we could get you ready for a show in 2 weeks. I mean, it's like, it's crazy.
We were happy.
So that's one of the keys to making, I try to do that with my clients as much as I can, the clients of mine who work with me year round. Let's stay in shape while you don't need to be the days of bulk ups and, you know, where people put on, you know, 50 pounds and they're like, I'm getting huge. They end up dieting all of that off and sometimes losing even more because they have to be so extreme. So that's one of the reasons why your preps don't have to be so extreme. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, what you mentioned is, so we don't just go like, oh, 6 reps is best for building muscle. 10 reps is best for building muscle. 20 reps. We cover the gamut, right? In our training, we'll go as high as some workouts. There'll be sets of 21 to 25 reps. Some workouts, there'll be reps of, you know, as low as 6. And sometimes there'll be just 6. There'll be 7 to 9, 10 to 12, 13. Like we'll just mix it up. But one of the things that you said, and obviously, you know, what we're doing there is we're basically trying to ignite all the different physiological pathways there are for growth, and also touch upon all the different muscle fibers and what they respond to. And I also believe that even though there are fast twitch and slow twitch, I do believe there's other ones along the continuum that are
Hmm.
maybe medium twitch, that are kind
Yeah,
of hold a
there.
little bit of both. So we try to address all that. But when we go heavier and we do our sets of, we never go below six, but 6 to 8,
No,
which we would consider heavy. I usually throw in a technique for you a lot of times to make the time under tension longer. So like I'll throw in very slow negatives, five
to the
five
one and a
second
half.
negatives,
Yep.
or 1.5 reps, or the stretch component, holding that, or the
Correct.
contracted component. And that's been very effective for growth for you, right? Doing those low, when you
Yeah, I
do the
mean,
low, you're still getting the time under tension.
I think the biggest one for us is two exercises. One would be the wide grip lat pull downs where there's a 4 second pause at the top of the rep. Remember my lower lats a year ago, the judges did not like. There was not a complaint this year about lower lats because you helped me pull them off, right, essentially of the torso. Secondarily is the incline bench where we're doing the half rep up, back down, all the way back to a full rep. The upper chest around the clavicle on the side chest a year ago, I would always joke, remember, I'm flat. It looks like it's scooped out. I would have to go use the new X machine to get blood flow back. We didn't have that problem this year, okay? Like it never had the flatness of the upper chest. It never bellied out. The side chest stayed full. So, within the past 12 months, I believe those two exercises really changed the physique from stage year to stage year.
Yeah. So the techniques. And then another thing you mentioned, which I think is important, is that while going to the gym is, everybody's a little bit different in the rest they take, but you're very focused in the gym. The workouts don't take very long for you. So you get in there, you blast the muscle, you destroy it, and then you get out and you eat your food and you rest, which is a
Correct.
huge key, especially when you're a natural guy. I mean, guys who are not natural, they have a little bit more luxury where they could be in the gym for 2 hours and do all those extra sets, and they could thrive on that, which is part of what PEDs do. So you don't do that. So, and we also keep our overall, not forget about warm-ups, but our overall work sets generally pretty low per body part. Like even for legs, I mean, for quads, maybe 10, 11, 12 sets.
Agree? Yeah.
Chest, maybe.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I'm still here, Kevin.
I'm still here. Eric froze.
We'll get him back.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sure.
then Josh.
Yeah. So,
There you
I can.
are.
There he
Oh
is. All right,
yeah,
Eric. Go ahead.
everybody froze up on me there for a minute. Kevin and Josh, you were
You,
frozen.
yeah, so it was reverse. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
so
well, go
you
ahead,
you
Josh. So
were
what
you guys
about the
cut off
sets?
right around sets are right around 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
For
just
chest.
saying we don't do a crazy amount of sets. We really make sure that we do maybe 8 to 10 work sets per body part at most, but crush them, right? Like that's what our key is.
Yeah,
And
and I think Kevin, if you pull up the Instagram again, the Atlanta NPC show where the background is black, I think you'll see a testament to kind of the upper chest, the lower lats. Those are really good stage shots. Wherever
uh
that was.
Atlanta, not the natural showdown, no, right? That's not
It's
the one.
Yeah,
probably pretty
you'll see.
recent, right?
Yeah, it'll probably be the maybe like
Let,
fourth or
let,
fifth
let
picture
me
up
let
there. The
me
background's black,
let me bring
or
that
the
up.
Well, as he's
stage.
pulling it up, Josh, talk about the sets. I
So
mean,
Yeah,
we
so if
don't
you
go crazy
scroll
on
up,
sets.
yeah, right there, the black one on the right. Scroll back up.
yes.
Yep, there it is. So that there, I think, is if you can scroll through, you'll see probably our best conditioning, our best fullness. If you look at the upper chest there, that's where we were usually flat, and you can even see the lat, just inserted on those pictures there, even from the front, and that's where the judges really ate us up last year. I mean, you can see the lats in that front double bicep. I think, Eric, this is where we really saw the
Yeah,
most
because you
change.
didn't have that. You didn't have the lats out. They were kind of,
Correct.
would narrow unless you were spreading them.
Correct.
And then you didn't have that fullness in the through the chest. It flattened out when you get ready for a show.
Yep.
And
So
now you
these
have.
were great stage pictures. You can see the chest there from the side up top towards the clavicle. Always have been flat in that side pose. You can look at all the pictures previous years. So I think, that's a testament, to the way that we decided to train specifically.
Yeah. But so I wanted to, bring it out that we're not in the gym for 3 hours. We're in the
No.
gym for maybe an hour. We kill it, but we kill it for that hour. You're not talking to people and having conversations and on Instagram playing around. You're in the gym to work. You're there to
And
do your work.
is it two body parts a workout or
Yes.
Generally,
Yes, it is.
okay?
It is
yeah.
two body parts of workout, and we're throwing calves or abs in every other day.
Yeah.
So it's almost 3 body parts if you want to count calves and abs. You know this for me in physique. It's an ab show. There's no way around it. So we hammer those, and then calves have always been an issue of mine, for 13 years. So we just keep hammering those stubborn things as well.
Yeah, so that's basically the way we do it. But we also do, just for people to know that what we do is we also, since chest and back was areas that we really needed to build up, especially as you crossed over from men's physique to classic, we do hit those body parts twice a week. But like Josh said, the first ones, they're separated and very focused, and then later in the week we actually hit them together with a little bit less sets, just to kind of to sometimes with stubborn body parts, it's important to re-stimulate them a little bit later in the week and get some blood in there again, because a lot of times stubborn body parts need a little bit more activity. So now when it comes to diet, I know we talked a little bit about the simplicity. Just talk about how many meals a day do you eat, how we kind of separate, where we put the carbs, most of the carbs, protein stays steady, and what are your general foods that you stick to?
Yeah, so this is really easy. I mean, I travel a lot, I work a lot. My diet has to be very easy. First meal is my highest carb meal. Post workout is my next highest carb meal, and then they stay pretty basic. I'm eating 4 meals and I'm drinking 1, right? And what I mean by that is obviously that's the protein shake, where the carbs are the least important and the proteins are the
So
highest.
we're doing 5 meals a day.
5 true meals a day. We float about, let's say, 50 grams of protein every single meal. First meal of the day is very high in carbs. We float between 60 to 80 grams. Same thing with that meal post-workout. But other than that, cut that in half, and we'll be between 30 to 50 grams of carbs every other meal. The foods for me are laughably easy. It is ground turkey, it is chicken, and it is egg whites, okay, and red meat. So just steak if it's available, all right? Carbs for me, it's going to be white rice all day and oats all day long. I mean, that is what I stick to. I don't really deviate to anything else. Fats come from the avocado and the natural peanut butter. I throw the natural peanut butter into the oats, guys, stir that up. That's good. And then the cool thing is, Eric knows, as an oncologist, I'm really big on blueberries. Okay. They have all kinds of anti-cancer properties. So he allows me to get my blueberries in twice a day. We use that slightly as a carb source. And guys, that's it. That is all I eat.
That's it.
I don't eat anything else. The cheat meal, Eric knows, 100% of the time is 20 chicken wings. I'm just a redneck from West Virginia, so that's what I always want. Is
even the cheat meal is consistent.
So that's truly it. And and I'll tell Eric, here and there I'll have a beer, guys. Me and my dad will sit out on the farm and drink a beer. Little things like that. But that's obviously not during prep, only in the off season. So I'm not a big alcohol guy or anything like that. So it's prep is. I'm very fortunate. Prep just fits how I live, and we keep it as simple and easy as possible.
And we stay. Did you want to say something, Kevin, before I jump?
Keeping it on the natural thing. I mean, do you think it's easier to get away with it? I mean, all right, in the off season, you have a beer, you have a bit of a cheat, Do you, I don't know. I don't think it affects you as much if you're like on all these PEDs, because your body is going at 100 miles an hour. All of a sudden, you throw something into it and it goes off, you might end up on the toilet for like 2 days, If you're natural, a bottle of beer, a can of beer, or I don't know. I mean, I think you can get away with it more when you're natural, It might benefit you as well, give you that kick when you go to the gym the next day. I don't know. That's my theory. I don't know if you guys think, not saying a cheat day all the time. It's like once in a while you can maybe, it won't affect you as much negatively. I don't know.
Kevin, I agree from the positive perspective. Every time in the off season, because it may be once a week or once every 2 weeks where I eat chicken wings or drink a beer, and I send him my posing videos, we look veinier and fuller, right? So at least for me, I can easily say that the cheat meal doesn't disrupt anything. And if anything, I usually go harder in the gym the next day. I try to have it in the evenings to sleep with the food and process the food and then go hammer it the next morning. I don't know. It could be placebo. It could be completely in my head, right? But I feel better. I feel stronger. It's like a reward. And then I always try to take a posing video for Eric to see. And usually we're fuller and veinier, right? So at least for me, I would say it's truly beneficial.
Yeah, well, I don't really think, Kevin, that it's like natural versus unnatural and why they can get away with it. I think that it just depends on, first of all, Josh and anybody out there who has the discipline to say, I'm going to have a cheat meal and then I'm going to go right back to my diet the next day
Yeah.
Yeah.
versus 2 or 3 days in a row, because it usually takes a few meals to start to catch up to you. You start to hold
Yeah.
water and you start to feel a little crappy. So if you just do one, but the rest of your just think about it. If Josh is eating 5 meals a day, 7 days a week, he's eating 35 meals. If 34 of the 35 are clean, that one bad meal certainly isn't going to negatively affect you. And then we all know, as he's talking about the more veins and the fullness. Listen, we all know that a lot of bodybuilders say, I looked better the day after the show when I
Yeah.
ate
Yeah. We
18
talked
slices
about
of
this.
pizza
Yeah.
at night. Sometimes that can happen. It doesn't always work that way in the real world because usually after you're done with the bodybuilding contest, cortisol comes all the way down, you're
Yeah.
relaxed, and food hits you differently than it will on a Friday night the day before a show, but that's a whole nother subject. But I think what it is for Josh is that he's so disciplined all the time that it's not like he has a cheat meal on a Saturday night and then
Yeah.
another one on Tuesday and
No,
then
no,
another one
no,
Wednesday.
no. This,
So
yeah.
I think that's why it affects him so well because it's so rare. And then yeah, I'm sure sometimes throwing in a bunch of extra calories can stimulate the metabolism, and so that it can work really well. So what I wanted to go to next, Josh and Kevin,
Yep.
is a little bit about supplementation. Um, you know, we know that there's a million supplements out there. We know that there's a lot of BS out there about certain supplements, and we know that there's a lot of supplements out there that not only scientifically have been proven to actually, the ones where studies are done, and I know, Josh, you can speak to this because you know you come from a life of where you're actually reading real studies, not just anecdotal evidence about and certain studies have to be done on the proper population and they have to be done in the right way, double blind placebo. There's ways of doing studies that are right and not so right, where sometimes scientists want to prove their theory no matter what, so the study will be skewed to prove that theory. So saying quality scientific studies, supplements that work, but also, as you know, and I think you'll agree, even though you are technically a scientist, that sometimes things that we see in a lab environment don't translate to the real world. So sometimes you see certain things that, oh, this study didn't say that this supplement worked, but a lot of people are getting tremendous results from it. So what I'm basically trying to say is that there are a handful of supplements out there that I feel are really good for people if they're going to dabble in that part of it. Natural supplements over the counter, we're talking about. We're not even going to the peptides or the gray market
Mhm.
stuff. What
Mhm.
supplements for you have proven very beneficial as a natural competitor, both for muscle growth, fat loss, so on and so forth, and health?
Yeah, there's a bunch, right? So first and foremost, as a pharmacist, I want to say this: most supplements are not going to help you simply due to the fact it is a mixture of products that are not dosed correctly. I hate that. Okay. Yes, it has all the stuff that you want in it. The problem is the dose is not correct. Okay. So the best way to go today, still, and this sucks, is taking 10 to 12 separate products. Okay. So you don't want your creatine mixed with your branch chains and all the other things because it's probably not dosed right. Okay. That's the biggest challenge in today's supplement companies world is the intentions are really good with putting the right products in there to mix them together. Like creatine plus HMB is a beautiful combination. They're synergistic, but every product I see, the HMB dose is too low. So you're better off taking HMB plus creatine. So for me, some of the staples are I take 10 grams of creatine. We talked about this, Eric. We upped it this year after some new data came out that higher
Yep.
dose may be more beneficial also for
Mhm.
brain function.
Yeah.
I'm 38. I want brain function and muscle mass. So we bumped creatine to 10 grams. Of course, if you're taking creatine, you should be taking HMB, okay? And you can take those two synergistically. Let's just say that makes them work a little bit to get better as a team. Now, as a male after over 35, you're going to be like, all right, what are some of the testosterone boosting natural things I can take? we know ashwagandha is a great clinically proven product. Now, it's not going to blast you up to TRT levels, but it's going to maybe give you a extra 100 nanograms, okay? And that's beneficial in the natural space. Some other products are vitamin D, okay? Vitamin D needs to be in every bodybuilder's. We have even seen guys on the internet say it's almost anabolic. I mean, it's a great sales pitch. It's not anabolic, but it does have some properties that are very beneficial, okay? Of course, for me, fish oil never stops being in my system, okay? Your omega-3s, there's different ones out there called fatty 15 and these things. Just as long as it's pure, it's fantastic, okay? It's not only for your joint health to give you more synovial fluid as we're looking for healthy fats. Those are your healthy fats, okay? You absolutely should be taking those. So that is kind of the staple on where I live. And then once we get into a cut, you know, there are some tea extracts that I like to take that aren't my favorite things on earth, okay? Like they kind of make you a little jittery and not feel so great, but, you know, they keep that thermogenic property up to where you can sweat a little bit more. And obviously nothing burns fat, guys. We know that's a myth, but it puts you in the state for your body to access some of those fat deposits where they're in their stubborn areas. So that's the fortitude of foundation, right? Or whatever you want to call it. But as we joke in pharmacy, it's keep it simple, stupid, right? People try to do too much. You know, like you said earlier, hey, I'm on 8 PEDs when 4 work better. Supplementation is the same. The problem is you just have to take multiple things as its own capsule, tablet, or powder to ensure you're taking the correct dose.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. You know, I never really I never asked, but that is a good point. You know, I mean, not everything in one capsule. You know, and you take it all separately. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a supplement, and there are some companies out there, I know that mine, when I had it for 3 years, was like this, that properly dose everything, but you have to expect to pay more for that. You know,
Correct.
yeah,
if you have everything but if you have those everything but the kitchen sink supplements out there, they're gonna be like, well, we don't want this thing to cost $55 a bottle. We want it to cost $25 a bottle. So they're gonna cut down on the most expensive ingredients and give you not enough to actually make it do anything. So the safest way, of course, is like what Josh is suggesting, take everything as a standalone, build your own stack. But or it, you know, you could do your research. You can find some companies out there that will put together really good synergistic supplementation, but they're going to cost more if they're properly dosed. So just understand that. But listen, we're talking about your body. So if you put the best fuel in your car, you know, I make sure for the car that I have, I put in the highest octane. If I put in lower octane, it's not going to perform as well. And for your body, it's even more important. So, you know, that's a great point. So anything with do you take any just because sometimes food supply isn't so great in the United States, do you take any kind of a multivitamin or mineral or anything like that? Or
Yeah, so I do not. Okay, so multivitamins are kind of in the middle, right? We know you're going to absorb between 30 to 40%, and that's pretty good. People try to say that's like terrible. Well, you know, if you're eating a balanced and healthy diet, right? In America, the problem is you're still going to need a multivitamin. Okay, that's something I don't necessarily take today. One thing that I do want to touch on, and I'm not going to name a company, but there's a lot of green supplements out there now that have over 100 things in it. Okay.
Every day I take that. Love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the most popular one, okay, has been clinically tested. So you just got to make sure, as you alluded to earlier, the correct things are in there for them to work, because those are more beneficial in my personal opinion than a multivitamin today. Okay. Now, one of the big products, we know what happened there, right? They got clinically tested. What was in the bag, like always, was not on the label. Okay, so it got proven to not work. That doesn't mean green supplements work. It means that's a bad company that just lied. Okay, so like you said, take your time to vet these companies. Make sure it's not a TikTok shop quick video of them trying to sell you something for $20, because I'm not going to plug any companies, but there's plenty of supplement companies out there that'll create your own quote pill pack, right? Which will tell you, hey, you need creatine at this dose, HMB at this dose, a multivitamin at this dose, and we'll create your own little pack and send that to you. Those are the most expensive supplements on the market. But as you said, Eric, for your Corvette, you need 93. That's 93 octane from a supplementation perspective. It is how you get it perfect. Okay. Just the, you know, they call it personalized supplementation, customized supplementation. And literally every single person's is different. It is expensive, but that's by far the best way to go about it if you do not have a budget.
Right. That's true. I totally agree with you. But going back to what you said before, I always did the multivitamin thing throughout my career, but I actually a few years ago dropped the multivitamin thing and went to a quality superfood
That's where I'm
mixture.
at. Yep.
And it contains when you put together the amount of superfoods and a lot of times there'll be all kinds of antioxidants thrown in and prebiotics post it makes sure and it's much more absorbable to your body. It's recognizable to your body. That's what I do first thing every morning. The first thing that goes into my body is my superfoods supplement that I use, and anybody can ask me which one I've been using, and I'll be happy to answer. But I'm also curious to know which one you use, which we'll get to after. We'll talk about after. But yeah, I think that's the greatest way to start the day. To me, it's kind of this like setting up my whole system to absorb my food properly for the day, to function properly, energy wise, and all that kind of stuff. So just wanted to jump back to training a little bit because I wanted to mention cardio. Cardio is something also that we do year round. Obviously, not as much off season
Right.
as in season, but we do emphasize cardio around. And why would we do that?
Right. So as you alluded to from the natural physique is we're not going to get 40 to 50 pounds heavier in the off season, right? We stay, let's call it relatively stage ready from a 4 to 6 week perspective. So we still have abs, we still have lines in the quads, we still see obliques. I do believe the cardio keeps me there, right? Also, from a health perspective, at 38 male, I need to make sure my cardiovascular health is locked in. I should not be doing zero cardio at any point in time in my life. So the cool thing is, Eric, with working with you is not only are we a bodybuilder and training, also overall health and wellness is really important to what we're doing. So I do believe that has a lot to do with in the off season as well. Even when we're doing prep, guys, we've never hit an hour of cardio ever. The most we've ever done is 45 minutes, and it's been like a week, right? Period. We float around 30 minutes, to be honest, during prep, and right now we're at 20 minutes in the off season. So I'm not dying over here living on the Stairmaster for 2 hours, but also I'm very fortunate. My metabolism is probably faster than the average natural athlete, so I'm not stuck, at the hour. So I do understand my genetic gifts from that perspective, but we're not dying on the Stairmaster for 2 hours. I'll be happy to admit that.
Well, yeah, but it's also interesting you say that. That's part of your genetic gifts, but also being that kind of person with a fast metabolism usually has more trouble putting on muscle. So you
Correct.
have, there's other gifts also. There's people who are like, well, it's much harder for me to keep my body fat low, but they're more of a mesomorphic frame that
Got it.
easily puts on muscle. You and I have to fight
Yes.
to gain the muscle, which is what, we have been really focused on. Kevin, do you have anything that you want to talk to him about? Because I was going to go into
And
something else.
obviously, cardio is not like at a super fast pace. It's just keeping the heart rate just,
Good
No, you
pace,
nailed it.
steady,
good pace.
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Healthy.
wear a Whoop, right? Not to plug them. That's kind of the health device I use, right? And I try to keep it between just 90 and 100, right,
Yeah.
at all times on the bike. And I just do the stationary bike. It's easier on my knees and my back. I'm an old man. There's no reason to
Yeah.
run on that treadmill. And I just, have the Whoop up in front of me, make sure we're keeping the tempo there. Honestly, the bike that we have at Metroflex where I train, I keep it on between 10 to 11 resistance, and then that's it.
Great. Yeah, good. Good. That gives to me, I think gives a good outline for people, where, how you are, that
Yeah.
the program is very focused, intense. And I want to say the biggest word, consistent, because you
Yeah.
must be consistent to build a body. You can't be 2 weeks on and then miss 2 weeks. And, you can't eat good one day and crappy the next day. This is a lifestyle for you. You've made it. It's your life. This is how you live your life. And you're
Love
just
it, my
used to
life.
doing it every day. And then that's why you look the way you do and why so many people want to look this way, but they don't because they can't make it part of their lifestyle. And that's what you have to do. So you have to be willing to do it. So about 5 years ago, you contacted me. You already were a champion. You already won a bunch of titles. And so you knew what you were doing. You obviously very knowledgeable yourself. What made you seek out, say to yourself, you know what? I need now somebody to take me to a higher level. I need a coach. And then what brought you to me specifically as a coach?
Three things. It's very easy. When I was 18 years old, I met you at the Arnold Classic with a gentleman from Weirton, West Virginia named Steve Hinchy, who showed me the gym.
Oh my God, yes.
So me and
Steve.
you actually did an interview on YouTube. Okay. So there was instant trust is a guy from home who showed me the gym when I'm 18 said Eric knows his shit. Okay. That's super important where I'm from in West Virginia, right? Trust. Okay. The second thing is I did it all on my own and I felt like I reached the maximum of my education. Okay. But I also didn't think that I was big enough yet for someone of your stature to bring me on as a client. Okay. So now I had some victories under my belt. I won some big natural competitions. We've been at the Olympia, the Natural Olympia, Mr. America. So now maybe I can have that opportunity. And the third thing is you were a natural athlete yourself. So you had instant street credibility with myself because we've all experienced trainers, right? And some of them, and we've seen it, is week one, step one is 4 products plus your nutrition plus your diet. It's like I don't want the 4 products. I'm staying natural. So that was the threefold decision for me. Very easy. I've always wanted to work with you. Remember, like I said, I was doing your PRS workout in a garage gym in Weirton, West Virginia as an 18-year-old, so really cool to build, my own personal brand and self up to have the ability to work with you. And here we sit 4 or 5 years later with double-digit victories. It's been a cool full circle for me, right? So, always happy to be your client.
Well, it's my pleasure as well, equally as well. I mean, and I'm since I am your coach, and I'm not trying necessarily to be like make me your coach. I'm trying to just go from a standpoint of finding a good coach, whether it's me or anybody else.
Yeah.
What do you value in our relationship as a coach student? What are the things that makes you stay with me that any person should be looking for if they're looking
Oh,
for a coach?
communication is key. I can't tell you how many stories. Remember, I judge bodybuilding shows still. I'm over 30. Athletes like, oh my God, my coach ghosted me this week. They didn't tell me what to do before I got on stage, right? There's this huge gap in communication. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if some coaches have too many clients all at a show at one time. It's very challenging. Me and you communicate all the time. Communication is clear. It's easy. When it's showtime, there's even more communication to make sure everything is correct. There is lots of pictures and videos back and forth to where we're looking at every little nuance and detail. So I think communication is the most important. I don't give a shit if they live where you live. I think that's such an irrelevant thing these days. Like, I don't need somebody to show me how to do a lat pull down. And most people that are getting a coach don't either, right? We're a bodybuilder. We're usually competitive. We know how to perform the exercise. So I think the key is that it is communication. Okay. That has to be first and foremost. Secondarily, you have to look at what type of athletes they're training. What do they look like? Not necessarily testimonials, but how do they look on stage, right? I know your athletes. I've seen your athletes on the IFBB stage. They're always peeled. Okay. They're always full. You can see a lot of athletes from certain coaches where they're always flat. Okay. And you're like, oh my God, that's a problem I have. I'm always flat by myself. I need a coach that brings their athletes in full. That's something you've always done. So when I looked at those, call them testimonials, I was like, all right, that's definitely what I need. And then, depending, like I said, the third thing, and this will always be important, at least from the natural space, is you have to understand how to train natural athletes. It's significantly different. Kevin, you alluded to it. I can't hit chest twice a week. It's just not going to happen, right?
Not full
Because
workouts, not 2 full ones.
Not too full. So, a lot of these coaches will see like, hey, it's very challenging to train somebody who's not on the PED. So those were the 3 key pieces for me. And that's what helped me make my decision.
And another thing I want to point out again that is very important to me and that I think should be important to other people is the lack of cookie cutter approach that we have.
Oh, that too. Yeah, my God.
Every workout that you get is different from the one before. And if you look at a year's worth of workouts, you will see none of them ever would be the same. So I think, I just want to emphasize the point that a lot of coaches out there, maybe because they have too many clients, or maybe their approach is not as meticulous, that you should look for a coach who makes sure that they're giving you individualized attention for your body, your structure, your age, your limitations, your work schedule, and not some sort of cookie cutter program that they're giving to 3 or 4 or 5 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the athletes catch them. I'm not going to say any, but I can tell you there's been some examples where they're showing the exact same workout on the exact same day with the exact same macros, and the individuals that are the athletes are not the exact same size. So we've all seen it out there.
Sometimes they're not the same gender.
Or that, yeah, I know.
Um, so let's, okay, so that's great. Thank you
Yeah,
for that information. I think it's good and important. Like I said, just in finding a coach in general, you have to really be very, very, in today's, when I first became a coach, there really was not a lot of people doing online coaching, with people all over the world and stuff. That was like kind of a novel thing. Now there's a million of them. It seems like you can win the Mr. Podunk contest and you have some abs
yeah.
and you're like, I'm a coach now. You know,
Yeah, that's
you see that all the time. Like,
yeah. It's the I
somebody's,
yeah, IFBB Pro or quad MPC qual what do you call it? National
Nationally
qualified.
qualified. Yeah.
You
yeah, I mean,
you
and
yeah,
you might be a good coach, but the truth of the
yeah.
matter is it's not because we all know that there are a lot of some of the best bodybuilders in the world. They don't make good coaches. They need a
Yes.
coach. And that's not just in bodybuilding. The best basketball players, baseball players, tennis players, soccer players have coaches
Yeah.
that teach them, here's what's wrong with your swing. You're not throwing the ball properly, whatever, all different stuff. So it's not just bodybuilding, but you got to be very, very, do a lot of research when you're looking for a coach and don't just find the first person who has a great set of abs or who won a couple of shows. That's in today's atmosphere, especially with social media, something to be careful about.
Yeah.
But Josh, we had as a team, 2025 was our best year yet. I
Without a
mean,
doubt.
I don't even know how many shows we did. You'll remind me. And one thing that people usually find difficult, and I do actually believe this is easier for a natural bodybuilder than a bodybuilder on PEDs. This part is being able to improve from show to show, no matter how, whether it's a week away or 3 weeks away. But you and I did it literally from the beginning. You were in the best shape of your life. And then
Yep.
every show, we reached a new level all the way to the last show. And this is multiple shows. How many shows did we do in 2025?
Did
And,
five and
and divisions?
we won four, and we did men's physique pro and classic physique pro in every one.
And
So we did.
sometimes we did a masters. Like we would sometimes have you on stage 4 times in a day.
Oh, the Atlantic NPC Atlantic show, we did 6 classes. So I
Six.
mean, we
Oh
were
God.
we were on stage all day. We didn't give a shit. We were there to compete, man. I mean, hey, Kevin, if we're showing up, we're competing. We're not
Yeah,
scared of
yeah,
any class.
yeah.
That's what we're there for, man. Hey,
Uh,
we'll go get our tails whipped, or we'll
yeah,
win the whole thing. You never know.
yeah,
Well, we did a lot of whipping of tails this
Yep.
year. So
yeah.
this was definitely the best that you've ever been. And then we also this was the first year where we really moved into still doing men's physique, but moved into the classic physique because we
100%.
wanted to build more of that Zane-like physique that you always pointed out to me. So I always try to push you in that direction. So this was our first year where we really went into the classic space.
First time ever. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
we didn't do any, we had never done classic before at all.
no, And
Oh, okay. I didn't remember. I thought
the
maybe we did
judges
last
kept
year.
the judges kept wanting us to do it, right? They're saying, hey, in natural it's different, right? A little bit too big, a little bit too blocky for regular physique now. We'd love to see you in classic. Obviously, at 6'3", we need to grow the wheels. That's why we took the year to do so. And me and you decided that the wheels were ready. We started out with a second place finish at Mr. America, which is, in the natural world, that's our biggest show. I mean, that is the Natural Olympia and Mr. America are our biggest competition. So we were thrilled, and just carried forward into the next four.
Yeah, so we had so it was a great year competitive wise, bunch of titles. I mean, everybody could look behind you and see how many, and I'm sure that I was involved not in all of them, but in a lot of them, which is
Oh yeah.
wow. I'm so proud to literally see that. I don't think I've ever seen this room.
Well, there's
But
more on
those
that side.
also,
I'll have to send you a picture. Yeah.
yeah, you got to send me a picture of that. But there's also in just from the level of publicity you got in 2025. I mean, I know you have the magazine there to show, which I definitely want to show you, Men Fitness cover. But also, I think that cover wasn't that shown like in Times Square or something in New York City, really
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. I couldn't
I think
believe it.
that is that on your IG? Is there
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
video?
It's on my IG. That was, uh, you look back at your life and you
Ah,
think of
here it is.
some of the
This was
coolest moments.
amazing. This was
Yeah,
amazing.
this
This
was
was so
definitely
amazing.
some of the coolest
Look
moments.
at
So
this.
yeah, that's
I
right in the
mean,
heart of
go
Times
back to the
Square.
beginning. Look at that. That is unbelievable. How did it feel, dude, when you were standing there in Times Square, New York City, and you saw yourself larger than life? How was that? Was that
Well,
amazing?
as you can see, I'm totally surprised. The sweet intern from Men's Fitness, obviously, I went up there to promote, do some podcasting like this, sign some copies, just did some basic commercial work for him to put on Instagram and that stuff. So right next to there is a Starbucks, which I don't know if you can see. And she's like, "Hey, Josh, let's go down and grab a cup of coffee." I'm like, "All right, sure." Like, of course. Well, she
Yeah,
knew
there's the
that this
Starbucks. Yeah.
was being played in Times Square. So we
Oh,
walk
she
out.
knew, but you didn't know.
I did not know, right? And you see UFC is next to it, Netflix. Like, I'm just a normal guy from West Virginia, so to see that and it be a genuine surprise, and you can even hear her like screaming in the video. It was one of the coolest little moments of my life. Like I've had some moments in pharmacy with patients that I cherish, or my family, but just from a personal level, I never thought something like this would happen to me, like ever. So it's just truly a blessing, and one of the coolest stories, when I'm 70, I can tell my kids one day,
Man,
hey,
I wish I was with you that day. I would have loved to have been standing out there and seen that.
genuine surprise. I had no idea,
Unbelievable.
Eric. That's what made it the best part. Is I'll give her all the credit in the world. She set me up
That's
really good. Yep.
what a special. Listen, I'm not, I don't want to compare IFBB to natural, whatever. But there's a lot of IFBB pros out there with crazy physiques that have never been on a magazine cover, and
Yeah.
they've and certainly have never seen themselves on a Times Square digital billboard. So I mean, the fact that you achieved that, and I know you have the magazine sitting right there. So show us that if you don't mind.
Yeah, got it here. Super cool. So you'll see the body brought to you by Merlin, and the pictures are Soraka out of Miami, who's another great fitness
Oh
photographer.
yeah,
But I
because there's
mean,
a whole article about you in there, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
there it is.
whole copy and spread, and interview and talk about the natural space. Just really fortunate to sit down with them and go through an interview like this where they pick my brain. And
Yeah.
just when it's I'm a humble guy, it's hard for me to put myself in that mentality. So it's really fun to reflect. And honestly, there's some stuff in there you'll get to read about Steve Hinchy taking me to the Arnold when I'm 18 years old and running into you. So just it's really cool to reflect on your fitness career and life and reach that point, because I don't think any of us, Kevin, Eric, any of us take enough time to sit back and reflect on the path to where you're at today. And this interview forced me to do that. So it
Yeah.
was very humbling and made me appreciate where I sit today even more so. So the exercise itself was awesome, right? Just totally incredible.
Yeah. And sorry, Eric.
No, no, you go.
And the thing is, it's a magazine, something that we don't see, you know, any longer, I mean,
Yeah.
like the I don't even know. I mean, it's on my shelf. We interviewed a bodybuilder, a freak of nature,
Mm-hmm.
D. Hesney, David.
Oh, David.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was called by the IFBB if I can write it for their magazine, because they have, health and fitness. And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and it was the second time I had an article in their magazine. And it's great when when you can touch, it's not on a screen or anything like that. It's something special. you know Magazines they're lost now, but when
Yeah.
there is one, it's precious. You know what I mean? When you get, Eric knows all his articles are in
Oh yeah.
magazines. And you know
Yeah. Something
um,
something that was really cool is some of my friends and family saw the copies at the airport. So they were
that's
still like
cool.
in the air. So I'm getting pictures from my friend and
Yeah,
my aunt.
yeah,
Like, look,
Yes.
this is my Josh, my
yeah,
my nephew. Like, that is so cool.
yeah,
Just like you're at work and your aunt texts you. She's at the airport and there's your a picture of her standing next to your magazine. Like shit you just don't think about. And you're right.
yeah,
It's tangible. It's feelable. It's real and it's old school. And I think that's why I love it probably more than any experiences.
yeah.
I'm more of an old school guy, so it's just really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's really funny that you mentioned the airport because one of my greatest experiences was at an airport. When I had done the cover of Iron Man magazine. They asked me to do the cover when I was turning 40. And I remember that I was probably traveling somewhere for a supplement company that I was with at the time. So I went to buy a couple of magazines to read while I was on the plane, and I saw sitting there my Iron Man cover. I didn't even know that it had come out yet. So I saw it and I was like, dumb, kind of like how you were
Yeah,
probably
can't
just looking
believe
up
it.
at the billboard, and I
Yeah,
see it, and I remember that I grab it and I'm looking through it and I'm looking at the article, and some guy walks up to me. You could tell he worked out, and he goes like this. He goes, you could see him. I see him like sort of out of the corner of my. He's looking at the thing and he's looking at me. He goes, "Bro, that's you."
yeah,
I was
that's
like,
awesome.
he's like, "Let me get a picture with you." Oh my
Yeah,
God, this is unbelievable. So yeah, it's so funny that happened in an airport, but what a surreal feeling it is,
yeah,
when you see yourself, because you're used to going to a magazine stand and seeing all these champions and things like
yeah.
that you looked up to through the years and whatever, and then you see yourself and you're like, wow, like, oh my God, like this really is, amazing, what a journey.
It's that's it. And one of the moments at Metroflex, my little gym here in Tampa, Florida, the owner has magazine covers blown up. Say like 3x3s. He has
Wow.
Arnold, he has Nick Walker, he has Paige Hathaway, and he blew one up of me and had me sign it. And obviously
Here it
Ronnie
is.
Coleman is there as well because it's a Metroflex. Which I'm laughing. I'm like, I am just a pharmacist. There it is. Like, I'm just a normal person. I'm a pharmacist, right? Like, you got to be kidding me. But that was probably the full circle moment. And you can see there's Jay and
Yeah,
Ronnie,
all these
Paige, Nick.
incredible pros.
Like, just that puts it in full circle because I can't view myself even close to those guys by any means, right? But to be up on my gym, where it means so much to me, and I spend all my time, that to me, I'm not kidding, and I'm not trying to piss off New York City. That actually meant so much more to me than even the billboard in New York City because,
Well, because that's your
that's my
home
home,
gym.
that's my gym.
Yeah.
Ronnie, Frank, all the big guys are there, and that's going to be there forever. That's which is super cool. And like when me and you go back to Venice and we train at Gold's, and Frank Zane's picture is so faded from the sun you can barely see it, but it's been there since
Yeah.
'79. Like
Yeah.
just to kind of think that opportunity is there with that picture is really surreal to me.
That's absolutely unbelievable. So looking ahead to now we're in 2026, you and I are in full, I don't even want to call it off season. Let's call it progress season
Yeah, yeah,
training, with the goal of bringing up the wheels, bringing up the back even more, bringing up the chest even more, just making a better you. What
yep.
what uh, what are we looking forward to? What are the goals for this year? What are we looking forward to doing?
Yeah. So really excited, right? Like we always do, and I want to let everybody know this. We always take 11 to 12 months. You'll never see me in June, right? We always step on stage the fourth quarter of the year. As in the pharmacy world, that's the slowest quarter of the year, so it's strategic. Of course, the goal for us is always go back to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is Mr. America. That's invite only, so hope to get that invitation again this year. We got it last year, and it was full systems go there for sure. Obviously, we talked about we definitely want to keep dipping our toe in the natural IFBB spaces. I do believe that is growing, right? And some opportunities will present themselves there that should be pretty great. And I like to try new things. Not all federations agree with trying new things. Some want you to stay there and not go to others. But I've been a free agent my entire career. I like to go where the opportunities, right? So, I will believe end of October again, we'll be on stage through November, and we'll do the same time frame as we did this year. So we have that full year to just do what we did last year, just look completely different on stage from 12 months prior, because that's the goal, right? Is we want to look significantly improved, not minimally improved and rushed. So I think we go back right to where we started this year is focus on Mr. America and carry forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're never in neutral, always in drive. So
Yep.
we don't want to stand still. Now, do you follow, even though you're natural, do you also like follow the IFBB and what's going on with the
Oh
with
my
the
God, I
concept?
love the I'm the biggest
So
fan of the IFBB. Yeah.
great, great. I mean, me too. Obviously. But so, Kevin and I are going to start talking about the Arnold Classic pretty soon because it's almost here. So
Yep.
just while we have you here, what do you think about the Arnold Classic? Who do you like going into this show?
Well, there's a few. So you got to pick Brandon Hendrickson because he's coming out the men's.
Oh, so you're going, all right. So you're going to go physique
men's
first.
physique.
Oh, I'm going
okay.
physique first. I'm
Yeah.
I'm going straight to Brandon. I just saw a picture of him the other day, and he is so bubbly and three-dimensional. It's ridiculous. But when you compare him to Ryan Terry, I actually think that kind of hurts him a little bit against Ryan. Ryan's not as bubbly, so he has the less, quote, bodybuilder-esque type for physique. So when those two stand next to each other, that's all I care about at this point in time in physique is respect to everybody else. Those two are 1A and 1B. Yeah, that's the picture. Come on, Eric.
That's taken in my gym. That's in the Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, if he looks like that in what is it, 4 weeks or whatever, I don't think anybody can touch him.
Yeah, he almost looks like he could go classic right there.
So that's what I mean by bubbly, and that's why I think when him and Ryan Terry stand next to each other now, even though obviously Ryan is a monster, he doesn't look as round and full, which is probably
different
to his
kind
benefit.
of physique.
You got it, right? So, but I think he has to take it if he comes in looking like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Classic, I'm not 100% sure of the roster, but there is somebody that I want to bring up that I wish we could get him dialed in. I think Logan Franklin, who started as a men's physique guy and moved into classic, and who has done a great job of posing. Okay, his posing is the Arnold and the Frank Zane of the modern era, but he just keeps missing a little bit. I would love to see him come in. He's won some pro shows, but not the big one yet. Man, if he can just come in dialed, holy shit, with the classic package that he brings, he could be a force to reckon with. Now, I'm not sure. I know he's taking some time off, but I'm not sure if he's going to the Arnold. But that's just a physique that I want to bring up from a classic perspective that I think needs highlighted more than a lot of others. I just don't think he gets the attention that he deserves for what he puts through.
He definitely has an unbelievable physique, and he has not quite hit the mark in the big shows. Although I could tell you that yesterday I was talking with Mike Summerfield, who was in my gym training.
Oh, really?
Oh, perfect. There you go. Yeah, well, he's the biggest of them all at this point in time.
Yeah, I saw exactly what it looks like because when he was done with his workout, he stripped down. He was just posing in the middle of the gym, and I mean, he looks. Quite honestly, I think I would love to see him go from classic to the 212 because I think that he carries that kind of density and muscle mass that he could really be competitive in the 212. But he's still sticking with classic for now. But the way he looked yesterday, I gotta say he's got to be the front runner because he looked amazing. He looked amazing. So, but as far as classic guys go, would your favorite guy in general be Logan, or do you have another guy who's your favorite classic guy?
So Terrence Ruffin's down here in Tampa, and when I was at MI40, I got to watch him train. Okay, so he's hard not to like because that's a good human being right there. Okay, trains hard, good man, great poser. So he's always been one of my favorites, even though our physiques are not similar because he's a little bit shorter. Yeah. So I would put him up there just because of personal experience around him in Tampa. But Logan has got to be it. Taller guy. Started in physique, started natural, worked his way up, really built it, and then he focuses on really taking pride in posing from the 70s and not doing much new. Okay, so for me, if I could hand select a physique today, right, that is the Frank Zane of the current era. So for me, I would have to say he is somebody, that I would say I look up to or would like to emulate.
Yeah, I think Logan has a proper classic physique. More than Mike, I think. If I had to pick a classic physique from the lineup, it would be Logan.
Oh wow, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, well, I'm a big fan of Ramon. I think Ramon is incredible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's
competing at the Arnold, right?
Yeah, he's not competing at the Arnold, but Terrence Ruffin, to me, Logan, of course, is an amazing poser, but the routine that Terrence did at the Olympia to me was mind blowing. Like
incredible, right? Yeah,
was just as brought me back to like Lee Labrada and Bob Paris and those types of. I mean, he was just incredible. So like,
so that's what my eyes drawn to it is more the classic guy with the posing instead of just the true mass, which I get. They're all capped. Like Mike is just a mass monster. I mean, the dude is humongous and perfect everywhere. But
I don't even know how. I looked at him yesterday and I'm like, he's got to weigh 225. I mean, he'll only go weigh I'm like, I don't know how he's going to get down there. I mean, that's why I think he should go to 212. But anyway, that's another. So What about open? Do you have opinions on
Yeah, I
open?
mean, it's got to be the guy from Dubai, the Andrew Jacks guy that got all the attention at the Olympia. He's highly favored coming in. His check-ins, he's looked phenomenal. I think he has enough momentum from the Olympia where some people even had him as potential first place to the Olympia. I mean, you saw some conversations around that opportunity there. I think maybe this is where he hits his stride. I mean, if he can come in looking like he did at the Olympia, win his first big true show and catch a lot of momentum, is the Arnold we seem to learn that's where new champions come into play, right? The Olympia, we know historically there's a lot of repeat champions, right? We've seen it the 6, the 7, the 8 times, the 3 times, but the Arnold, there's a lot of new. So maybe an opportunity for a new champion in the Arnold to get some attention.
Well, definitely is going to be a very competitive show. That's
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
Hardy
Oh, the
came out
lineup's
of
great.
Hardy
Yeah.
came out of the shadows now, and he's
I
looking
saw his chest looked ridiculous as always, right?
complete.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I think the goalposts have changed in his favor, huh?
I
If
like
he,
that. That's good news. He deserves that.
that's
Yeah,
what I
that's
that's
great.
what I believe. You know, this hate going against him, I think it's pushing him to excel even more. I don't know, but seeing those photos and videos,
And we
I don't
Yeah, I
can't, and
saw
know.
the
we
one
can't.
in the yellow tank top. I think that's the one you're talking about, Kevin. He
Wait,
looked the
Hardy.
striations were out of
He
this
looks
world.
incredible right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I'm
like
just like he's
this
just
is one of
thick.
the hardest workers in bodybuilding who
Yep.
just refuses to give up. I mean, he
Look
is.
at
Yeah,
that.
that's it. There it is. Yeah, in the yellow tank. Look at this. Look at the striations.
I
Ridiculous.
mean, Andrew Jack is incredible, but he has a lot of space to fill in. This guy
True.
is complete, you
Good
know.
point.
It's going to be tough to beat that
I
right there. But
mean, I've known this guy. I've seen him compete since he was an amateur with the IVB in Europe, you know,
Yeah.
going up the ranks at the World Championships. I mean, look at him.
Yeah, it's
This is
amazing, isn't
recent,
it?
you know.
Oh yeah, these are this week maybe.
Yeah.
Or excuse me,
I
maybe
yeah, I
last
think
week.
those are pretty recent.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see any missing legs here anymore. You know, people are saying, hey, I'm
No,
missing.
I don't think he's missing anything.
No,
He's
he's coming for that money. He's coming for that title again,
well,
huh?
but listen, we cannot forget Nick Walker and Martin
No, we
Fitzpatrick,
can't. We can't.
Of
But
course.
two very
Martin looks
tough
great.
competitors.
Yep, Martin's been coming up, and
yeah,
Nick is his first time. Is he still self-coached? Right, I don't want to be
He
incorrect on
says he's
that.
self-coaching himself right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
So we'll see. That could be. There's 2 ways that can go. One, fantastic, or terrible. I don't know if there's an in between. You know,
No, no,
because
it's
I've
good.
self-coached myself. I've also had a coach, Eric. There's not much middle ground. It's
Yeah.
either really good or really bad.
No,
You know?
it's gonna be a very tough show to judge.
Well, the purse is huge, so that's the good news. Is the money's up again.
The money,
You know,
and
that's I love seeing these checks get bigger and bigger for these guys,
yeah,
man. It's
yeah,
super important. You know, we're watching pro golfers win 16 million in Phoenix. You know, we're watching NFL players get 50 million a year, and you saw the bonus checks they got for the Super Bowl. So I'm glad to see our bodybuilders are seeing
you
6 and
get
7.
you're getting, you know, soccer players making 200
200
million a
million.
year and
There you
stuff.
go, 200 million. Yeah,
I mean,
my
That's
you
God.
get Formula One drivers like Lewis Hamilton getting
Yep.
300 million in like 2 years. You know, not including sponsorships. You know what I mean? So that's,
Yeah, bodybuilding is still way behind, but hopefully it'll get a little closer as we go. But it's again, it's because it's very much a niche sport,
it
and
is.
you don't see, unfortunately, because of the nature of bodybuilding, you
Yep.
don't have sponsors like Budweiser and Nike. You have supplement
Correct.
companies, so it stays in its little bubble. So the money's a little bit limited. But anyway, so Josh, I mean, awesome having you on the show. Awesome interview. Is there anything you want to put out there, either promoting yourself or any more ideas or thoughts you want to put out there before we go, that you want to parting words for the audience, anything?
Yeah, so nothing about me. This is never about me. Just honored to be here, happy to be here. You know, one thing I think it's really important from a takeaway, I'll put my pharmacist hat on. Supplementation works. Okay. Make sure you read your supplement labels, make sure you vet the companies and use the right ones for you. Okay. The other thing is steroids are not all bad. As long as you use them correctly with the right dose under medical supervision, they work. That's why we invented them, right, as chemists and pharmacists. So for me, I love and admire all bodybuilding. Okay. I don't care if you're natural, if you're enhanced, if you're in the OCB, if you're in the IFBB. I love this sport so much, right? And I hope that more people, when they see this, can get into it, because I tell all of my employees this: if you do one prep, I promise you, you become a better person. Okay. And it's not because of what happens physically, it's what happens to you mentally, it's what happens to you discipline wise and teaching yourself consistently. It has allowed me to be better in business and as a family man because of what I've learned and taught myself through these bodybuilding preps. And the way I always say it too is, if you do a prep and you step on stage and you get last place, it doesn't matter, because
Doesn't
you're in the
matter.
best shape of your life. I
Yeah.
guarantee it. So for me, the parting words is risk it, take an 8 to 12 weeks out of this year or next year, step on a stage somewhere. There's a show every single weekend. There's usually 10 shows every
Yeah.
weekend that you can enter.
Thousands all over the world.
Right, you got it,
Yeah.
Kevin. So this is me with my closing remarks. Is I hope everybody that sees this, that's thinking about stepping on stage, do it. Okay,
Well,
and trust me, it's not that expensive. Everybody makes it out to be way more expensive than it is. Do your one class, pay for your tan, pick a local show that you can drive to, save up a few $100s, and you'll be just fine. So appreciate you guys.
yeah, I mean, awesome, awesome closing words. Listen, I encourage anybody out there who is on social media, Instagram or Facebook,
Yeah.
contact Josh. How do they contact you on those? What are your handles on those?
Instagram is the only Stony. My last name is Stoneking, so I've been called Stony my whole life. And then Facebook is just Josh Stoneking. You can type it right in, and then of course you'll see my LinkedIn profile for my pharmacies as needed. If there's any patients out there that want, cancer advice, autoimmune advice, any of those medications, I can happily help with as well.
Yes, and I can attest to that because I've been speaking to you lately about somebody in my family, and you've given me some great advice, very, very helpful. So I don't know, Kevin, if you have anything else or not, but to me, I think this was an amazing, amazing interview.
I mean, before the show started, I didn't know Josh, I never spoke to him, but going through his, Instagram, and I found the part where you were in Dina.
See, I told you I was out there. Yeah.
I, I I found the part. I said, shit, this is Malta,
Yep.
It's
You know
nice to
Malta well.
know.
That's your home. Yep.
I'm Canadian. I moved here when I was 20, so but my family's all Maltese, and here we are. I can show it to you guys. Get a bit of promo for the country here.
There it is, right? Walking through the Game of Thrones gates.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the Silent City right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I took the whole horse and buggy through.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
there for the full experience, my friend.
No,
Hey,
it's
if anybody wants to bring me and Josh out there for a seminar on bodybuilding, we'd love
Yeah.
to go to Malta.
Happily. Happily.
yeah, bodybuilding's big here, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
I take photos at the IFBB shows, and it's the people that come from Australia and even America, they come to compete here, and
Yeah.
represent, because the IFBB here, you represent your country.
Country. Yep. Yep.
So it's like the Olympics, it's the Olympic dream
Mhm.
of Ben Weider and stuff. So it's no, it's great to get to know you, and we'll stay
Thank
in
you.
touch. And I learned a lot because I always train naturally, and even that thing of the supplements, I was really that you take the real. It's better to take the real thing than having
Yeah.
everything in one thing, and
Yep.
it's a great show. It was a great show, and I hope people watch it. And I'm gonna definitely push this, not just for this week, but the weeks to come. So
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. That's
Well,
awesome.
Josh,
Thank you.
I thank you so much for coming on, taking some time. I know you're busy. Thank you for coming on to our show. Appreciate it. I definitely wanted to have you on because I think you're a wealth of information and a huge inspiration.
Thank you.
Um, One of my best warrior clients. Like I said, there's never a question in my mind. I give you, you just take you direct. You're like, I'm a good soldier. And basically,
That's
you
it.
are like,
I was
I send you
raised.
the diet, no question, it's done. Workout, no question, it's done. And that's why we have such good success together. And especially because you have trust in me, which is the most important thing. I look forward to many more years of us winning titles together. Definitely will have you back on the show again to talk about more things. And just really appreciate your time. I appreciate you as a client, as a friend, and as a colleague in the sport world of bodybuilding. And that's it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the
yeah,
show. Please subscribe to the channel.
yeah,
We always say, please share the videos,
yeah,
send comments, put a comments on the YouTube video. We like your comments.
Yeah.
and go and seek out Josh too, because he's got a great Instagram page, Facebook page, and his one thing I can say about Josh, and I tell him this all the time, his energy is just amazing. His energy as a human being, his aura is just so he just basically just psychs you up when you get a message from him, a video. It just I don't know what it is, man. You just have this great energy, that smile, that everything that you just put everybody in a positive frame of mind. So follow this guy because he'll definitely inspire you. So that's it for
Awesome
me.
stuff.
Thank you, guys.
So
Thank you.
see
All right,
everybody.
Josh, take it easy. I'm sure I'll talk to you later, and I'm
Yeah.
expecting my autograph magazine in the mail soon.
Get mailed out tomorrow.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
guys.
All right.
All right, have a good one.
See you guys.
All right, guys,
Bye,
take
guys.
care.